operatives, but the chatter has been constant. It really, though, intensified when Hickenlooper worked with Ohio's Republican Governor John Kasich on bipartisan health care legislation.
And developing tonight, the sexual harassment scandal involving Denver's mayor is not dying down. A city council member is now calling for an outside investigation.
It is fallout from claims first exposed right here on Denver 7. Today, the council met with the mayor in private. Our own Liz Gilardi was waiting outside that room to find out exactly what happened. Liz.
And Mark, Mayor Michael Hancock met with council in private for an hour and a half this morning. But any decision moving forward with an independent investigation will ultimately be up to the mayor.
Yes, let's get started with introductions of members of City Council.
Business as usual when Mayor Michael Hancock held a scheduled meeting with council this morning. But hours earlier, confirmation that Councilman Rafael Espinoza wants an independent investigation into the mayor's sexual harassment scandal.
That was me making essentially a personal plea.
The meeting moved into executive session, and we aren't sure what they discussed behind closed doors. Espinoza's plea detailed in this letter to the mayor, asking to, quote, remove the cloud forming over your administration. He also called him out, saying sexual harassment is unacceptable, and the mayor's behavior toward Denver Police Detective Leslie Branch Weiss was indeed sexual harassment by the most powerful individual in the city.
He needs to do this for both us and for himself and for the public, to basically say, look, I would rather have somebody else, not affiliated, look at, investigate this thing the same way we did. And see what conclusions they draw.
A spokesperson for the mayor said the letter is full of errors, and Espinoza admits it was hastily submitted. Mayor Hancock's office says he has taken full responsibility for his actions. But with this letter, Espinoza is essentially asking the mayor to launch an investigation into himself. Liz Gilardi, Denver 7.
All right, it's been an exciting 24 hours for Broncos country. Late last night, the team landed its new starting quarterback.
And our Denver 7 Broncos insider, Troy Rank, has been following this story 24/7. Troy joins us now. So, Troy, did the Broncos get the guy they wanted?
Well, they got the guy they wanted at the price they wanted, Ann. I mean, here's the deal. They checked in on Kirk Cousins early yesterday morning and realized, you know what, this is not going to happen. The guaranteed money was too intense, so they moved quickly to Case Keenum. Case Keenum's guaranteed money is going to come in, his contract, probably 2-year, $40 million. So they're basically dating Keenum. They're not married to him. This allows them to move on if they need to, while also getting a qualified quarterback who had 22 touchdowns last year, 7 interceptions, a clear upgrade over what they had a year ago. But here's the thing with Keenum. He can also move on. If they want to draft a quarterback at 5, where they sit in the draft, that could still happen. So that's the word you're hearing at Broncos today. Roster flexibility. Getting Keenum allows them to address other needs. If they'd gotten Cousins, that was probably their lone move of the offseason, but they still want to try to get a right tackle, a nickel cornerback, maybe even a slot receiver. Talking to players today, Ann and Mark, they all said, yeah, they probably wanted basically Cousins, but they're like, hey, we can move forward with Keenum based on the year he had last year. Get him some O-line help. So we'll see. But the Broncos found their starting quarterback, the first of many moves this offseason.
Troy Rank tonight.
Interesting.
Thank you, Troy. All right, let's turn now to developments in a tragic case that has touched so many in the metro. The teen accused of stabbing a young Longmont woman to death was formally charged today. Aiden Van Grabau faces 11 counts, including first-degree murder for 20-year-old Michaela Grote's death last November. A judge approved a plea to charge the 15-year-old as an adult.
And this is all new at 5. Justice is apparently hard to come by for kids on military bases, especially in cases when they are sexually assaulted by other children. An Associated Press investigation finds most of these cases never go to trial. Now, here in Colorado, the Army only has records of 3 such cases since 2007. And what's alarming here is, according to the AP, El Paso County investigated a total of 16 cases.
Tonight, a memorial for a little boy has been removed from a park in Firestone, and it's creating a lot of controversy.
The city actually gave its blessing for this memorial 8 years ago. Well, Denver 7 reporter Lance Hernandez is in Firestone tonight, bringing us reaction to this move. Lance?
And that memorial was placed right here. It's been removed because some town leaders didn't think it fit the spirit of the Firestone Trail. Now, some people don't like the way that process was handled, so they've placed flowers here and over here, some balloons on that park bench.
This is the memorial for their son, and it's, as far as they're concerned, and a lot of us, it's been desecrated.
Several Firestone residents are shaking their heads after learning that a memorial to 3-year-old Daniel Sutton, who was strangled by a window blind cord, had been removed from Harney Park.
A star will come up tomorrow.
He liked the slide.
Daniel's mom says her son loved Harney Park. That's why the community came together to place this memorial alongside the trail. It was designed by Trent John's son as a Boy Scout Eagle project.
When you think about that moment when Andrea walked into that room, that weighs on your heart.
Last January, Firestone's town manager told the town board that he was receiving complaints about the memorial.
That it really looks like a grave site and a tombstone, and that's not the spirit intent of the memorial.
Board members decided to remove it and replace it with something that was more consistent with other memorials in town.
Oh, it's extremely hurtful.
Andrea Sutton told us by phone that she thought the board was going to vote on the issue tomorrow night, only to find out that it was already a done deal. Trent John was so upset by what happened, he contacted the town manager last night. He said the manager can expect more phone calls.
If anyone's okay with how this got handled, we don't want you in our leadership in our town.
Now, a spokesman for the town told me by email that the memorial that was here and the yellow brick road pavers that were over here are in safe storage and will remain so until they can coordinate a delivery date with the Sutton family. Reporting live in Firestone, Lance Hernandez, Denver 7.
Let's get to some breaking news. Air Tracker 7 is flying above a large grass fire in Aurora. This is at the intersection of Quincy and Uravan. As you can see, it's a residential neighborhood. So at this point, we're not quite clear exactly what is on fire. We are working to get you more. We'll update you just as soon as we get it.
Now, in less than half an hour, RTD's board will discuss making changes to bus passes. And among the ideas they're talking about, a low-income bus pass with a 40% discount to riders at or below 185% of federal poverty levels. That is just under $30,000 for a family of two. They're also looking at a youth pass with a discounted rate for teenagers and free rides for younger kids. Now, coming up on Denver 7 at 6, we will have a 360 look at what some of these proposals could mean for the future of transit. And up next on Denver 7, they are the coolest on the court. But can this member of the Harlem Globetrotters keep his cool on the slopes?
That is impressive already. And a Denver homeless man walks for miles every day just for a chance to work. We'll let you know how you can help him out.
I'm meteorologist Stacey Donaldson. Very dry, warm weather here across the Front Range, but we're keeping our eyes on this cold front headed our direction that will affect Colorado for the rest of the week. We'll talk more about what this means and how it will impact you coming up.
A Denver homeless man is doing his best to stay on his feet. The trouble, his shoes are failing him. So the Denver Voice, a monthly newsletter sold to help the homeless, really pretty much put out a call for help.
However, they are coming up short on finding a new set of kicks in his size. And Denver 7's Sally Mamdouh caught up with a man who could use a little help with his big shoes.
In the midst of busy 16th Street, you'll still hear Armand Kazaza's work voice.
Denver Voice, $2. Help a vendor buy a paper. Denver Voice, $2. Help a vendor buy a newspaper.
Every purchase is a chance for Armand to get by. He's been homeless for 20 years.
I'm pulling in about, if I'm lucky, $20 a day. So in a good month, I'll make about $300 off this, plus my SSI, I'll make about $1,000 a month.
It seems small, but the money he makes from selling the homeless advocacy paper keeps him on track.
It gives me something to do, it's something to kill time, so I'm not getting myself in trouble.
And as much as Armand relies on selling the papers for a small living, he relies on his shoes to get around. He walks over 20 miles a day because riding the bus isn't an option.
I can't, motion sickness, unless I got nausea pills, I don't ride the transit at all because I'll puke every time.
His shoes have run their course.
They're tore up on the inside, the bottoms are gone.
Not being able to afford shoes every month or so isn't Armand's only problem. What size shoe do you wear?
14s.
A rare size, Lynette Hidalgo with Denver Voice says they don't see many of in their donations.
He's a size 14, so if we do get in boots, it's kind of like a gamble. We usually don't get that large of a size, so it's a little bit harder to fill that need.
So they took to social media in hopes of finding the right fit for Armand, who's trying to stay on his feet in a city that he can't afford. But despite his daily challenges, you'll notice that his big feet match his big personality. How do you keep such an upbeat personality? How are you just smiling and laughing and talking?
Well, it's either that or be depressed and put a gun in my head. Denver boys. I refuse to be miserable.
In Denver, Sally Memdu, Denver 7.
All right, so here's where you come in. If you want to help Armand get a new pair of size 14 shoes, we do have a link with more information, and you can find it right now on thedenverchannel.com.
We need to get to some breaking news. Air Tracker 7 flying above a large grass fire in Aurora. Again, this is the intersection of Quincy and Uravan. You can see there are a few firefighters, a few vehicles out there. It looks like it's left a pretty big imprint on the terrain. Not sure exactly how it started, but it looks like right now crews have made some progress. It looks like for the most part it is pretty much out. We are going to keep close watch of this. We'll bring you more as soon as we learn more details on this.
I'm meteorologist Stacey Donaldson. Just another reminder there of how dry it is across Colorado, and we're about to warm things up even more into tomorrow. Highs in the 70s tomorrow afternoon. Today we had highs in the 50s and 60s for the day, but we'll have some mountain rain coming in for tomorrow during the day. It'll change over to snow by the evening, and then we have a chance for a few showers here in Denver by the time we get to Thursday. It's all thanks to a big cold front that's in California right now. Our temperatures now are in the 50s and 60s here around Denver, 56 at DIA. Our satellite radar picture is very quiet. We don't have any rain or snow here for the most part in Colorado, but we do have rain and snow off to the west. I also wanted to point out that we still have blizzard conditions up through the northeastern part of the country, and they're expecting over 2 feet of snow here with that storm moving through. Now, this is the storm we are really concentrating on here in Colorado because it is headed this direction. So it will be bringing in rain and snow to Colorado by the time we get into the next 48-hour period. Tonight, though, we'll drop around 30 to 38 degrees by midnight. Our overnight lows will be in the upper 20s here around Denver, low to mid 20s up toward Fort Collins and Greeley. Our bus stop planner includes 30 as you head to work, head to the bus stop, and then 68 degrees as you're headed home. It'll be a nice mild day with sunny skies. Our futurecast, though, for tomorrow does show you that as we go into the evening, we're going to see snow showing up for the high country, but it'll stay very warm and breezy here across the eastern part of the state. This will be by 5 o'clock. And once we get into the later evening hours, we start to see that moisture popping up off to the west as that cold front gets closer. Highs tomorrow in the 60s to around 70 degrees tomorrow afternoon. We'll even have 50s and 60s up in the high country. This is Thursday starting at 6 a.m. Here's more rain and snow coming in from the southwest toward Telluride and Montrose.